Today I'm going to show you guys how to write visual novels or Otome games. And if you don't know what an Otome game is, well, damn. Anyway, hey guys, I'm Brandon Chen. I'm an author of novels, manga, and webtoons. I'm also a writer for video games as well, which is what this video is going to be about. One of the most recent ventures that I've done is obviously writing an Otome game. And basically what that is a visual novel with anime/manga style characters that typically target a shoujo or female audience. And the key thing about visual novels is that they have branching dialogue. And so what branching dialogue is essentially when you're playing a video game and you reach a point where you're allowed to make a choice, you know, in a conversation with another character. And you can make a choice that will impact the future gameplay of that game. So there's a bunch of different pathways, and you know, as a writer, you have to create all those different pathways and choices. Oh my god, my hand is so white in this sunlight, this lighting. Anyway, now being able to write branching dialogue is a really important part of becoming a narrative writer for video games. But even if you don't want to become like a writer for video games, this is actually very useful for writing dialogue just in general. So whether you want to be an author for novels, manga, webtoons, video games, or all of them, like me, which I can't pick one, I guess, then this is going to be a useful video for you, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. And that's why you should smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe if you're into manga, webtoon, or author content. I put out educational content and also some comedic shorts for you guys. So make sure to subscribe, and then also hit the bell notification to know when I put out videos. And comment if you know any fun visual novel or Otome games that we should all check out. So anyway, I was working on a Otome game, as I mentioned, called Blue Spark, which is in collaboration with this platform called Dorian, who is currently sponsoring this video. Now, Dorian is a visual novel app that allows for readers and writers to create visual novels on the platform. So writers can create their own visual novels without having to code, and can create like beginning, middle, end, a complete game on their own, which is actually pretty revolutionary. And then the readers are allowed to consume these games and play them for free, which is very exciting, or support them with, you know, some kind of like premium pathways, choices. And Dorian's really cool, and they wanted to start introducing anime and manga style stories and characters and assets to their platform. So that's when they pulled me in, because I'm the anime and manga writer guy. Yeah, I partnered with their platform, and I'm starting to bring their first Otome game, which was Blue Spark, to their platform. And obviously a lot of writers have been able to use my manga character assets to create new and original games of their own, which is very exciting. That, you know, the characters that, you know, I created with my partner 𝐒𝐻𝐻 have gone on to spawn a new bunch of different stories. So today I'm going to be using their platform to kind of show you guys an example of, you know, creating a narrative game, and also giving you guys some lessons on how you can better write video games on your own. So let's get started. So you should be able to see my screen now. This is the Dorian platform, and on the left you can see this is where the writing actually happens, and then this on the right is what the game looks like on your iPhone. And you can do this without coding. There's no coding required. All you do is just write, and that's it. All you gotta do is be a good writer, or any writer at all. So there's two parts to writing narrative games, right? Writing narrative games is 1, the dialogue/writing portion, and then 2, the choice. So this is the dialogue/writing portion, which is a bunch of dialogue. So a bunch of guys are talking, right? And narration is happening here. And this is what it looks like under the hood, which is, you know, you just denote whether or not you think it's dialogue, narration here on the left. You write it down, and you denote the character that is being used here. And this is imported assets that, you know, art that I have put into the platform in collaboration with Dorian. So you have that dialogue, very easy to write. You can just like write, I mean, I could just do it right now, right? I could just write like, what is this? Hi, my name is Brandon, you know, and then it would pop up, and then I can choose a character, and it would pop up on the game, right? I'm not going to do that because this is a published story. Anyway, this is the dialogue, and then it leads to, you know, as visual novels and Otome games do, you have them talking, and then eventually someone has a choice that they have to make. What is this guy gonna do? You know, is he gonna teach the soldier a lesson? Whatever that means. There's a smirky face, could be a little spicy, I don't know what that means, but scare the soldier with fear, or kill him using your powers. And so you have this is what this boxes, the decision point. And so, you know, you usually when you're writing visual novels, you're writing up to these choices, and then the reader is going to make one of these choices. And as the writer, you have to write what happens after each of these choices. So, teach the soldier a lesson. It goes to this little box right here, which is, you know, basically the same thing. It's just a bunch of dialogue that happens after they make that choice, you know, and oops. And then, you know, if the soldier uses scare the soldier with fear, they'll go to this dialogue. And if they use powers, it goes to this dialogue. And these arrows are used to denote where it's going, right? And you know, if you're using Dorian, obviously you can use this button is how you connect everything together. And obviously you can make it a lot less messy than me. You can name your boxes. I know what everything is, so I didn't name everything. And so that basically that's how you write, create a game, right? You just, I mean, very simply, create a box, create a dialogue piece, a narration where people are talking, they're interacting, and then you create a choice, and then those choices lead to more dialogue, and then it just keeps going, right? It just keeps going. It just keeps going until you end your story. And so that's put very simply. So now I want to go through kind of what makes, you know, some tips on how you can best you know, improve your storytelling for narrative games like this, like visual novels, and also just in general. So obviously here I'm going to start off with some tips just for in general. Writing visual novels, writing any type of story, you want to make your opening very engaging and interesting off the get-go. So this is a chapter 2, so actually, you know, anyone who reads this will probably have some background, but the reason this is interesting is because this is our first time having behind the scenes of the villains. And so the villains are hanging out and they're talking. We have no idea who this guy is. Who is this guy? Like, he wasn't showing up in the first chapter. So immediately readers are like, wow, like, you know, villains, crazy. And you're even going to make a choice as a villain, which is very unusual in visual novels. So that is immediately engaging off the get-go, which is you're looking from the villain POV. So I encourage you, with any story that you write, any chapter, any episode, you want to make sure that that first part at the beginning is very engaging, and then also the ending should also be engaging, but also a cliffhanger. And the reason cliffhangers are really good is to keep them rolling into the next episode, in the next chapter. Not so important in novels, but it's definitely important for like episodic writing, like webtoons, manga, and visual novels as well. Cool. So those are some 2 writing skills that I think that you can take away from anywhere. Take and put into any put into any medium of writing. Another thing that I think is really important is not to drag on your writing. So when you have dialogue, for the most part, everything should have purpose. So when you have this narration here, or you have this dialogue here, it should have purpose. You don't want to have dialogue that doesn't have purpose, and the reason for that is because, like, if it doesn't drive forward the story, just cut it. You know, there's no purpose of having, you know, a dialogue of saying like, hey, what's your favorite what's your favorite color? You know, it's like who cares about what the favorite color is, unless it like has something to do with the story. It's like, and it's just like completely if it's irrelevant, don't keep it. You know, if it's not needed for the story, don't keep it. If it's not driving the characters or story or conversation forward in some kind of way, or the plot, don't keep it. Keep your story, keep your dialogue concise, but also keep it you know, if you got to keep it interesting, right? And stuff that's not needed for your story, it's not going to be interesting. And so that's something that you can apply to any medium of story as well. Now for some fun tips on specifically visual novels here. So you have a choice, right? You have choices. You want to make sure that when you're writing your visual novel, to make the choices pretty simple. And the reason is because you're not creating like a AAA Genshin Impact, Fallout New Vegas, Halo game. You're creating an independent visual novel game by yourself. So unless you're working on a AAA video game, maybe you can, you know, make some more complicated choices for your readers. However, for us, you want to keep them simple. And the reason is because if you make them complicated, you have to write the block and the branches and all that crazy jazz that has to go with whatever complicated storyline you've written or choice that you've written. And so what I've done here is you have a guy who's attacking this girl, and you have 3 different choices. Let this other character save you. You can fight him, or you can use your powers and beat the crowd. In all scenarios, the bad guy gets beaten up. And so basically, it all ends up going the same way because the end scenario is the same. You just have different things happening. He gets beaten up in 3 different ways, right? And that's interesting because you get to see all the different alternative ways that you get to beat him up, the reader. So the reader's like entertained, but also from the writer's perspective, you're not writing anything super complicated that would just take years to write, right? It's a very simple narrative branch here. So keep your choices simple, guys. I'm saving you a lot of time and effort. I promise you. I'm saying that now, but I actually wrote a really complicated one here. Anyway, another tip that I have for you guys is to try and put as many choices as you can in your games. I mean, a lot of visual novels, they're novels because they don't have that many choices. But a lot of visual, Otome games, they'll have like a lot of choices to keep the readers engaged. And the more choices you have, the more the readers are going to be engaged and feeling like they have a hand in the story. And so the more that they have a hand in the story, the more they're going to enjoy the time that they're having, right? Because it's like, wow, I get to make this choice. I get to, consume the story. And then I get to, make all these different kinds of decisions. So I would just, it's a numbers game. Put in a lot of choices into your games if you're creating them. Makes it a lot more fun for the reader, and obviously it's a little bit more work, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot more fun for the reader because they get to make those choices. So definitely would recommend putting in a lot of choices, but also making the choices interesting. You don't want to do like some I mean, you can do some like semi-boring choices, but like if you make all the choices a little bit interesting, you can have, the readers will spread themselves out across the different choices that you're making instead of just picking one that is clearly the best one. And yeah, that's pretty much the quick breakdown of how to create a narrative game. To summarize, you create a dialogue box, which has all the narration, dialogue, everything. And then you lead them to these decisions that readers can use. And then those decisions will branch off into different, narrative boxes that are similar to this beginning. And then you just kind of continue that cycle until you finish your episode. And that's pretty much how you write visual novels and Otome games in a nutshell. I know that you guys have some tips that I just said, and hopefully this is very helpful. And you can do all of this, guys, in the Dorian app, and I'll leave a link in the description where you guys can download this app to start to play around if you wanna play games. I actually have weekly prompts, guys, where you can win $75 pretty much to enter the contest, create your own game based on a prompt using my characters, and it's a fun time. So I definitely recommend you guys enter this contest because it's good experience. It's good practice to if you want to get involved in writing visual novels and games and just get better at writing in general, and also you can win some money, so why not, right? So yeah, I'll leave the link in the description for you guys. Well, guys, hopefully you learned a lot about writing for visual novels as well as Otome games, and hopefully these are skills that you could take even outside of just writing for visual novels. So definitely make sure to check out Dorian if you're interested in playing around with their platform and creating your own games. That's free to do so. So definitely consider checking it out. And then also subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on next week's video. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Bye.